Well, it is my pleasure to introduce you to Quinn Harwood, also known as Coach Q. He is a leadership life coach and motivational speaker, and his vision is to empower business professionals to reach their maximum potential in life, leadership, and business. He champions the growth time belief and mindset that all adversity, obstacles, and even our success is the opportunity for us to grow, to move forward in power. And so today he's going to be talking about throwing that rock, beliefs that move us forward. Welcome, Coach Quinn.
Thanks, Becky. Appreciate it. Really honored and thankful to be part of the JSA network. I've known this group for the last 6 months as I've gone through my own transition in life, but it's such a great service you guys provide, and it's an honor to be part of it. So I'd like to just welcome you, to the huddle this morning. I'm a coach, so sometimes I use some sports analogies. And who is excited about Monday? So if you're excited about Monday, let me just see a thumbs up. Cool. All right. If you think this is going to be the best week of 2021 for you, let's show the horns and let's hook them up. How many horns we got up there? This is going to be the best week of 2021 for you. Now, if you're super excited that you are not an Aggie fan, wave to the camera. Yeah, that's a fun part for me. Look, I'm not a Texan native. I've been here 6 years, but I do say that I found home. I'm a Jersey boy that kind of made his way down North Carolina for college, California. But I love Texas. I love the native part of rooting for the home team. So look, anytime I can get a chance to poke at the Aggies, being a Horns fan and kind of like adopted in, I'm excited to go do it. So thanks for jumping on Monday morning. We're going to get rolling. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to hopefully move you forward. Like every step closer, every step forward is a step in the right direction. So we're going to talk about throw that rock, beliefs that power you forward. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And we're going to get into it, right? So the concept of growth time is kind of like my larger message. Growth time is really, just to state it again, it's really a belief, like a mindset, really, that your adversity, your challenges, your obstacles, everything you're facing is an opportunity for you to grow forward so you can reach your max potential, get maximum results, and make a maximum impact in others' lives. That's truly what it's about. Now, the question of growth time is many times is, hey, how do we grow? Like, how do we move forward when things get stuck or stagnant? So this is one of the messages I teach or preach or train or coach on. It's throwing that rock, beliefs that move you forward. So that's kind of the message we're going to talk about today. Okay, in the discussion, look, I want you to feel free. I'm going to ask you to participate. So have the chat window open. If you have a pen and paper, let's get your pen and paper out. We're going to actually kind of do a little training at the end, and we will kind of jump right into it and launch out and go forward. So I'll kind of give you an overview of my story. My story is really about growth through adversity. So played professional basketball for a few years out of college, had a great chance to play with some great players. The older generation will recognize Tim Duncan, Ray Allen. Had a chance to play in the same team as the late, great Kobe Bryant. And basketball in the NBA was my dream, and made it right up to the doorstep, right in the La La Land, LA Clippers. Now it sounds cool to be part of the LA Clippers, but back then it was like the worst franchise in the century of the 1900s. But needless to say, it was right there at the doorstep. Adversity hit. I blew my ankle out playing for the Clippers. And so I really didn't get a chance to play in a game, got put on the IR, the injured reserve list, got waived, came back, reset, played in the minor leagues, another injury, and then rehab that and another injury. It seemed like everything and every adversity was against me to try to reach my goal. But yet, through that season of life, there was growth to be gained. And I learned how to move forward. Get fast forward, years later, after spending years in the corporate world, took a chance and opportunity to start a small business. That crashed with the partnership. financial chaos, adversity within the family and the home. And so it became a very challenging window. But yet I learned that there was growth through that adversity. 12-year leadership career then with the 24-hour fitness in the fitness industry, learned a lot through adversity and pain points of, hey, how do you grow through different segments or portions of leadership? COVID-19, COVID casualty, spring of 2020, role eliminated. Again, there was an opportunity to grow through adversity, but it was about awareness to what areas needed to grow so that I could move forward and I could still reach my potential and make an impact in others. So I've learned quite a bit about growth time. And as I like to say is there's always seasons for everything under the sun. And we've heard that before. There's a time for everything. But one time that I've learned that God, who I call the great growth coach, he's always in growth time. He's always looking to grow us, grow others, and sometimes grow both at the same time to move us forward to our potential, move us forward to our purpose. And that can be real exciting. And that can be really challenging because growth is never easy. But yet the fruit of it is moving forward. So what I want to do is I want to kind of share a little bit about my story and regress a little bit, open it up, and then I want to get your feedback because my hunch is where you sit at today, you may be feeling, believing, or thinking the same things. So I'll go back to a portion of my story. So I'll go back about 12 years ago. And as I mentioned, I had started a small business with a few partners. It was the three of us. One had the vision. I was more of the sales-driven engine behind getting that vision off the ground. Well, about 6-7 months into that business, money started to come in, and I guess my contract didn't suit what they wanted. So they kind of pushed me out. So there I am in 2017, got a family of 5, 3 kids and a wife, a lot of resources already spent just starting this small entrepreneurial startup. And here it is, the mortgage crisis, recession hits, and I'm left like, oh my gosh, what am I going to go do? And as you can imagine, I'm doing what you're doing today, what most people will do who don't want to stay stuck and want to move forward. I began the search. I call it the big search. Where am I fit? Where do I fit? What am I gifted at? What could I go do? How could I make an impact? And so there it was. Resume update after resume update. Contact after contact. Interview after interview. Second interview, third interview. Oh, wait, this is the one. I've got this. This is a perfect fit. Sorry, no go. Online search, online search. This was before LinkedIn was really big. So it was a matter of networking. But yet closed door after closed door, this went on for about 8 months and then 9 months. It was like I was hitting this colossal wall. Like there was a wall in front of me and it was getting bigger and bigger and wider. And I felt like I didn't even create this wall. Sometimes we create our own walls in life, but this one, my goodness, how am I going to get through this wall? And I kept running into it. And I'm learning like, what is it I needs to move this wall so that I can move forward? Maybe you feel that way, like you're just sometimes hitting that wall. So here's what I want your thoughts on. I'm going to explain to you what was going through my mind as I woke up each morning. And I want to see if you can hear what my beliefs were or what I was wrestling with each day. Here they were. Gosh, I keep getting rejected. I'm tired of getting rejected. I just don't want to hear it anymore. I don't know if I could actually get up and move anymore because I keep getting rejected. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose everything there is. And I'm feeling stuck. Like I don't even want to try anymore. And then, gosh, I'm just failing. I'm failing, and failing makes me want to just stop and just stay at this wall. Here was another set of messages that I wrestled with. It was, do I really have the skills and ability? What am I missing? Like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I find my purpose? Why can't I find out where I'm supposed to go? Like, why can't I figure this out? Like, do I have what it takes? And then there was another set of thoughts that would wrestle with each day. And that was, I've got to figure this out on my own. I'm raised in a manhood culture that tells me I've got to figure this out. I can't trust anybody. I can't share what's going on. I'm at this and I've got to figure this out and rely on myself to figure this journey out and make it happen, get it done. Those are what I wrestled with each day as I faced that wall. Now I'm curious, what beliefs do you think I was wrestling with? If you want to just open up your chat, I want to hear what you think after you heard, what was I wrestling with? Just type it into the chat. Can you hear it? Self-doubt, my purpose, good. Finding your purpose, lack of confidence, really good. God, why did you leave me? Really good. Impostor syndrome, some great thoughts. Fear, someone capitalized that sucker. That's a good one. Depleted energy. Yeah, that's great. So look, I'm a coach. I like to say it's game. It's a sports analogy. I'm going to call a timeout, and I'm going to say it's almost halftime of the game. What I like to do is kind of open it up, and I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our beliefs. So this is your coach's halftime speech. So here's what I learned. Here's how I grew through that journey. I learned that we all have a personal flow, and we go as we flow. At the core of us is our beliefs, our truths. Our beliefs are at the center of us. Our thoughts, they get filtered through our beliefs. Our thoughts spark our emotions. Our emotions just move us or don't move us into action. And then we flow. We go around like a wheel. We keep going. So it's Texas, and I love Texas. So I'm going to use the truck analogy because Texans love their trucks. In fact, when I moved here, I felt out of place because I didn't have a Texas Edition Suburban, or I didn't have a Texas logo on my car. So the truck concept, your beliefs is like your engine. And at the core of you, your engine exists. Your thoughts are like the gasoline that you're putting into that engine. Now look, you can put high octane gas into that engine, and that gas can then filter through your beliefs, and you're going to go in a good direction. Sometimes you put mid-grade gas in there. You get average results. Then we've all been a place where we have our thoughts are that low grain, almost like 80% ethanol gas we pour in. It challenges our core beliefs, and many times we do not move in the right direction. We cause more mess and misery than we do about moving forward to our potential. Now our emotions, hey, they're like the pistons in that engine. They pop, pop, pop. As the gas comes in, our emotions get fueled, boom, 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 and then bang, that truck begins to move into action. So what's the point? What's the value? It's awareness that our beliefs and what we choose to believe is either gonna get us stuck, keep us stagnant, or move us forward in power. And we have the choice what to believe. Now, as we hit that older age life journey, 20s, 30s, 40s, it's sometimes harder to change our beliefs and recognize what they are and change them. But it can be done. We have the power of choice. Our beliefs will move us forward. So let's talk about 3 personal enemies. So enemies are going to move us in the wrong direction. They are what you call limiting beliefs. Many of you have heard of this before, but let me clarify what a limiting belief is so you can be clear and aware of if you're facing limiting beliefs today. Limiting belief is any belief that prevents you from moving forward to your potential. It's a restrictive belief that prevents you from moving forward to your potential and growing ahead in your life and your journey. It limits you, it restricts you, it retains you, it refrains you from moving forward. And that's in your life, in your leadership, your business, your professional career. They are limiting your ability to grow and move forward. And you guys were right. A lot of them you nailed in terms of what are the 3 biggest personal enemies that we have to fight as people, as leaders each day. No matter when you wake up, you're going to fight these. Personal enemy number 1, fear. Someone wrote that in big caps, which was really cool because it is. It's a monster. It is the monster one we have to challenge each day. Fear of loss. I faced that quite a bit in my journey when I was hitting that wall. Fear of rejection, fear of failure. All those fears paralyze us. They keep us not wanting to move forward. They get us stuck. Enemy number 1, fear. This was popped in the chat quite a bit. Self-doubt. What a great limiting concept that an enemy can use to keep us stuck. Not being secure and confident who we are, what we're doing, what we're gifted at. Continue to affirm the goodness in us and how we can move forward. And I wrestled with it. Maybe you do too. Maybe you're wrestling today with it. Self-reliance. To me, this is one of the greatest enemies that goes unrecognized in our beliefs and our internal belief system. That somehow we have to rely on ourselves to move forward. That we can get isolated and alone in our thoughts. That we become restricted to share. And that somehow one is greater than others. Relying on self becomes a great enemy because we can never flourish to our potential, make a bigger maximum impact than others, or get a result. So I'll share. Broad concept. Why did you show up today? I'll take a pause. Why did you show up today on this call? You could have done anything you wanted on a Monday morning. I'd love to hear from a few of you. Just pop in the chat. Why did you show up today? I'm assuming it's to network, to have some motivation, to get encouragement. I'm assuming that make a contact, make a relationship. Obviously, everything's been disrupted. That normal flow of life that we love, the predictability, stability has been blown up. There's probably a sense of frustration. I know in my journey, extremely frustrated that nothing was moving forward. You get discouraged. It's kind of like that wall just sits there in front of you and you're like, gosh, how do I move this through? And you're thinking, man, what makes it worse sometimes is that you got a friend named Bob, Harry, Sally, Grace, and they're doing well. Like they're in the middle of the COVID part and they're crushing it. And you're like, gosh, I'm just trying to get out of this job hunt, out of this career place, figure it out and move forward. But here's the good news. You decided to show up, and showing up is half the battle. I worked in the fitness industry for almost 20 years. And what I learned through that journey is that just showing up sometimes starts the process. So congrats. So showing up is going to be our battle. Now, as we move forward, we've identified in a sense, look, there are beliefs that limit us. Now let's talk about the beliefs when you're facing that wall that are going to move you forward, that are going to help you conquer today. It's what I call empowering beliefs. You can look at these as like your ally. So if we have enemies that want to press us down, we need allies. We need strategic partnerships that will move us forward. So our allies, we look to our allies as a way of support to move. So growth is ahead. I want to encourage you today that your beliefs will move you forward. And if you embrace these next empowering beliefs this week, it'll be the best week of 2021 you had. And you're going to have to make choices each day to choose these. Number one empowering belief that will move you forward, faith. Now that's a big bucket, right? Most people, when you say faith, they have the higher concept of God, religion, organizations, some sense of belief that something greater is out there. And I would agree with that. but I challenge you to look at faith from a different lens. I look at it from the lens of risk. So faith equals risk. You see, one of the most greatest empowering belief you can embrace is to move from fear into faith, risk, getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of that safe spot, whether that's in your life, your personal relationships, whether it's in your leadership and how you lead your family, your business, your career. It's getting into risk. If you think about it, nothing ever happened without taking risks in your life. Some are safer risks, some are bigger risks. When you asked your spouse to marry you, that was a risk. When she said yes, it was a bigger risk. So look, risk is a part of this journey. Risk is one of those beliefs that opens up growth and opportunity. It is growth time, but nothing gets grown unless you walk in faith, unless you walk in risk. You can look at it from a spiritual perspective. Every miracle and every breakthrough that someone experienced when they encountered Jesus was because they took risks. They took steps of faith. So faith is one of the most empowering beliefs you can have. Even entrepreneurs or business partners, they have to take risks to move forward. That's the one that's going to empower you the most. Number two, self-affirmations. How many times when you're facing that wall and you're stuck at that wall, does your brain start to swirl and doubt and uncertainty creep in? Quite a bit. How often do you pause in your day to affirm yourself, to move from your thoughts to your words? Our words have power. And if we can speak out and affirm what we do great at, what we're gifted at, what we're called to do, it's kind of like that self-talk that we have to run through. But how often do you take time and space and take that discipline to say, here is where I'm good at. Here's where I'm great at. Here's what I know I am and who I am. Self-affirmations and self-talk are one of the most empowering beliefs to move you through those obstacles and challenges you face. Number three, this is a big bucket one. We get tripped on this one. The opposite of self-reliance is dependent trust. Dependent trust in others and people we're connected with in a good organization like JSN. Dependent trust in the people you're surrounded with, realizing that we are not alone, that we can accomplish more with others than by ourselves, and break free from self-reliance. And the greatest sense of dependent trust that has to grow through adversity, that has to go through obstacles, wherever you are in your space in life, but trusting in the bigger picture, trusting in a God or your view of God that is watching over your journey, that cares about your growth, that wants you to move forward. A dependent trust is a choice. We wake up every day having to choose what we're going to believe and trust in. Dependent trust, and I call him the great growth coach, is the ultimate place to know that you are going to move forward. But dependent trust is one of those concepts that will open up, free you to live your best today, to move forward and be empowered for today, and to secure your great future that you're called for. So dependent trust is the third empowering belief to walk through. Okay, so I'm going to call halftime's over. It was a long halftime. Coach had a long halftime speech. But when the game starts back up again, you're still staring at the dang wall. And you want that wall to move. It's dark, it's ominous. And in some places, we build our own walls. In some spots, people build walls for us. And in some places, walls are just put there by life or circumstance. COVID. The question is today, and we're going to walk through an exercise that's going to help you think how you're going to break free and break forward, I should say, in 2021 and even this day. What are you going to do with that wall? How are you going to fight that wall? How are you going to choose the beliefs that are going to move you through that wall and break you through? You see, in my journey, when I was stuck with that wall years ago, when I was stuck with the loss of a home, when I was stuck in a spot where no opportunity was opening up, resumes, opportunities, everything just seemed closed. I had to make a choice what I was going to believe. And I had to use my beliefs like a rock. So like a rock, I had to throw those beliefs at that wall every single day, trusting and believing that those beliefs wouldn't limit me and they would move me forward and break this wall down. So my question is, what rock do you need to throw at that wall today? Maybe you need to throw all 3 rocks, but there's a rock of faith, risk. There's a rock of self-affirmations to build yourself up. There's a rock of dependent trust that you need to keep throwing at that wall, and believing it's going to break free and break open. Your situation will change. You're going to grow your beliefs through this journey. Growth time is here. Growth time's coming. Embrace it. Brace it and move forward. Throw those rocks at that wall. They're going to break open. Your journey's going to change. It's going to shift. Whoop, too far. So I want to jump into now, as I'd love for you to type into the chat, and then we're going to do a quick exercise training here on next steps. What rock do you need to throw at that wall? What rock do you need to pick up today and say, this is the rock I'm going to throw against that wall all day today? Type it into the chat. So you should see probably 30 something pops through. Boom. Great. So you're here today to make movement. Being involved, taking steps, moving yourself forward is part of the journey. Don't play on the sidelines. No one wants to be a sideline player. Fans, they're not made for the game of life. We're all players in this game. We're all going to move this thing forward. And as you continue, there's still a few more people popping through. You know what? The end of that story is it moved forward. I grew my beliefs and my understanding of beliefs through that journey. It was my growth time. And sure enough, opportunity opened up. I was given and granted the opportunity to run the biggest health club in the Orange County area, having not run one that size ever before. So that door did break open. It moved for me. But I learned my beliefs, and the journey of my beliefs would dictate how I live my maximum potential for that day, how I still could then make a maximum impact in others, even while I was facing my journey, even while I was facing that wall. So next step real quick, is we have a few more minutes. Without a plan, we fail. I want you to think through, I'm going to give you 60 seconds. When you listed what rock you could throw at that wall, what are the actions you're going to take? So grab a pen, grab a paper. Saying it today is great, but without an action plan for this week, and I just want you to focus on 7 days. What action can you take over the next 7 days that's going to help you move forward in your rock of faith, risk, in your rock of dependent trust, in self-affirmations? What does it look like? As you begin to write them, I'm going to throw some thoughts that continue to move your thinking forward. So let's just say you picked self-affirmations. Maybe 10 minutes each day, you start writing out what you're great at, what you're good at. Maybe you get more clarity around your purpose. There's a lot of training courses out there. Something I work a lot with my clients on is being very clear within 1 or 2 sentences what your purpose is. It affirms you and who you are. Maybe you spend 10 minutes each day for this week in that world to understand your real why, your real purpose. Maybe part of your action step is ask 3 people What do you think I'm really great at? What do you think I'm really good at? And who do you think I'm really good to connect with? And then you speak that each day out. Or staying on the theme of self-affirmations. Maybe awkward, maybe clunky. You may have people look at you weird, right? If you got some family members, but you just need to get in front of the mirror and start speaking who you are and what you're great at, right? Maybe go Facebook Live if you're feeling really brave. Make it a TikTok, man. Maybe you become a star in the TikTok world doing that. But those are suggestions I want you to think about, because without a plan on how to grow and how to change, we all know in a business professional setting, nothing changes performance-wise. It's the same way with personal growth. But bite small chunks, 7 days. All right, I know I've got a lot of faces and I've got a lot of screens. If you feel like you've got 1 or 2 good action steps, I love for you to share one of them that you choose to take. So realize that we are in a group today. We're in a huddle. People grow within people context. So by you taking a step and sharing one action you plan to go do with the group, with the team, it may inspire another person to move forward. So I'd appreciate it. Now just go do it. I don't appreciate it. Just get her done, right? Share one action you plan to do this week. You'll be more accountable to go do it, because at least in a team huddle, you said, hey, I got 10 minutes a day of working on taking risks. Or I'm going to do an inventory of my life on where I'm not taking risk and where I want to control and be afraid of everything in this world. Very good. Keep popping them through the chat. And I would say business leaders get this, and you're all professionals. There's that old adage, SMART goal concept, SMART. If you are specific in your goal and growth in this area, if you can measure it, if it's realistic, if it's time bound, be specific. Don't say, hey, I just want to work on self-affirmations all this week. Nothing's going to happen. Narrow it down. We've all been through that professional journey before. Really good. I'll give it a second as things continue to pop through. You guys can read each other's comments. Hopefully that spurs you. Hopefully that moves you forward. Hopefully growth time in your life is going to take off. Remember, growth time, it's the belief, it's a choice, it's a mindset that these obstacles and these barriers are there, but they're going to help you grow forward, break you through that wall so you can reach your maximum potential, make a maximum impact, get max results, get that job, get that opportunity. Just keep throwing that rock at that wall. It's going to break forward. It's going to be a great week for you. So I know I'm right up about my time. I'd like to open it up for a few minutes for some questions. Feel free if there's anything, question or thought you have or something to share. I'd love to maybe answer anything you got. So fire away. Texans like that too, right? We like to fire stuff, blow stuff up. It's cool. I identify with that.
What questions do y'all have for Coach Q? I love that, Coach Q, how you were so tangible with that in terms of each of those different limiting beliefs. You had the counter, and then you're giving us ideas as to ways that we can approach it personally and apply it to our lives. We know specifically in working with job seekers that people are actually more likely to get a job 5 times faster if they have goals, they stick to them, and they have accountability to those goals. And so we really encourage that. So folks, you got this great coach, this great inspiring coach. What questions do you have for him?
Coach, I'm curious with the clients that you've worked with, those that you see that you've gotten traction and had the most success with, what do those qualities look like in them? Is it just taking action, or what do you see of those that I'm sure some that languish, some that do okay, and some that do great? What are the differences you see in those clients?
Yeah, Lisa, that's a great question. So typically what I see with the clients I work with is they're motivated, which is great. That's a starting point, right? If you're going to see any substantial growth or change, there's a sense of motivation. what separates the motivated ones from the action-based ones is internally how they view what they're facing. And what I mean by that is many times, if they can get awakened or awareness on where they're stumbling or where they need growth, that's stage one. And a good coach draws that out, because sometimes we all get stuck. We all get stagnant, right? We all don't perform the way we want to perform. And what I've seen with people is if the coach can help them gain awareness of where they need growth, then what happens is they have the power of choice. And that's where the real rubber meets the road. And that's where the truck moves forward. So the ones then that are willing to grow through adversity, you know, in sports and athletes, they get this concept. They're not afraid of the pain. They move forward, Lisa. They're not afraid of this may cause me change, but I'm not willing to stay where I'm at anymore. I want to move forward. And then once their awareness is there, once they have the truth of what their choice is, and there's a hunger, a desire to say, I don't want to be in that land of comfort. I don't want to be in that land of status quo. I don't want to be in that land of average anymore. I want to move forward. Then they are the ones that see success. They put it into action. They put a plan in place. Coaches help them, and man, they get results. They see change. They see shift. And that's when things come together for their life. That's when GrowthTime really makes an impact.
Great.
So
That's a long answer, Lisa. That's the best snapshot I can give you on what
Yeah.
really makes
Thank
and
you so
works
much.
within us to move us forward.
Yeah, thanks so much for your authenticity and just your willingness to share your own story. I thank you so much.
Sure, Lisa. And it was brutal. I know I make it sound like it was moved through fast, but like, and as you guys know, like the reality is when you're in a hole, it's brutal. It's frustrating. Day by day, it's like a grind. It's not easy. So when you get through it, that's when your vision becomes like, oh, great. I could see how things grew. But in it, you guys know it sucks. Like it's a grind, you know, it's a battle, right? And you just got to say, gosh, how am I going to win this? And our beliefs, they help us win. They help us move forward. But it wasn't fun, nor it is fun.
Yeah, and I think the win that's behind us is the fact that God's for us. And so I'm so thankful for that truth that undergirds all of life's circumstances.
Yeah, I see another question came through. What are some tips staying positive when there's non-supportive people in your life and your job search progress is making it stressful? Yeah, that is such a challenge, right? That is such a challenge where you're trying to move forward. There's outside stresses, right? The performance, the world, and then there's internal stresses. So it makes it very challenging to kind of be your best and live your best. So the answer or a thought with that is it's going back to having a plan that says, here's how I can build myself up. And that sounds funny, but we have to take ownership of ourselves and we have to build ourselves up. If you're a faith-based person, I love this example, but there's a story of David, a king in the Old Testament. And there came a point where adversity on the outside, his enemies were around him. And then internally, his people are like, what the heck? I don't want to follow you anymore. And what David did, he said he encouraged himself in the Lord. And so what I mean by that, and what's practical is he had to learn ownership to encourage himself day by day, to take those steps to say, what's most important is I build myself up on how I see things, what beliefs I'm going to choose. That's an important part. The second part I would say is dependent trust, meaning that you're going to have to find a space of someone you can rely on, someone you can open up to, some coach, some relationship, some mentor, where you've got an ally, you've got someone you can help trust here on earth as well as above, which is important, but you also need support here on earth. So those are the two things I would say can help you move forward when you're not getting the results you want and it's just not shifting. So great question on that one.
Really great. So Coach, I'm just struck by how much, and I'm sure this is true in athletics too, but how much of what you're talking about is kind of the mental game versus the physical game. And the analogy that we have within the job search of how much that's mental and how we approach it versus all the details that we want to focus on with our LinkedIn and our resume, which are important, but we've got to have that mental game in place as well. Somebody earlier had talked about imposter syndrome. Can you address that for us and just some ways to kind of attack it?
Sure. The imposter syndrome is basically the concept that you're kind of being like a phony or fake, or if you're not necessarily living out exactly what you believe or what you're thinking, right? You make these self-affirmations, but yet you're still kind of like doubting with it. That exists. That's a part of it, right? But the journey of growth, the journey as we grow through as people, is not getting stuck in that mindset, because we are growth. We're never going to be perfect or never fully arrive at a space. But yet it's the ones who are striving, the ones that are hoping, the ones that are taking steps. They can easily then, in a way, realize that they're overcoming imposter syndrome because they're growing. It's growth time. And growth time mindset, the growth time belief, I'll say it again, obstacles, barriers, adversity, challenges is there for you to grow forward, to reach your potential. With that concept or that belief in your life gets rooted, you're not going to feel like you're an imposter. You're going to feel like you're growing. You're going to feel like you're moving forward. And you're not going to have so much self-doubt or self-concern that, and I'm just not who I'm thinking I am or believing I am. That's what I've seen, Becky. Great question.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions for Coach Q?
Okay, I will finish up with a thought. I know we're kind of at that time. I will share one more little screen here with you guys, as far as maybe helping you connect if I can in any way. My LinkedIn profile is, here we go. So if you would like, I offer this to all people. It's a PDF. It's 3 coaching tips to power your growth. That's my website. It's a growing website even at that, as I grow and evolve in my journey. But if you want 3 coaching tips to power your growth, you can shoot me an email. The other thing I think would make it real easy is you can go on the website, and I even just pulled this off today. It's a real simple kind of landing page where if you want to connect to, say, the ministry or the concept of GrowthTime, there's an ongoing newsletter I move through to help people week over week kind of grow themselves forward in certain areas or certain buckets, you can call them. Feel free, just go ahead and click on that landing page, type it in, and it'll automatically send you basically the PDF with 3 coaching tips to power your growth. But Becky, thanks for today. Like I said, I'm so excited to be part of it, and I can only encourage you in your journey and in your stage, stay persistent with it. I know it sucks. I know it's challenging. I know it can be frustrating. But if you pick up those rocks of faith, meaning taking risks each day and fighting the notion to not be afraid of loss, control, rejection, you're going to move forward. If you have those self-affirmations and you work through understanding who you are, what you do, why you do it, and get clear vision of you and affirm you're going to move forward. You're going to live a great life today, and opportunities there for tomorrow. And then if you grab that belief of dependent trust and you choose it, trusting in people that are around you, and then trusting in the great growth coach, God himself, and you make a choice to trust, you're going to feel empowered to move forward. You're going to be stuck less, stagnant less, your performance is going to change, and you're going to have a different outlook on life, which will then power you forward to your goals. So thanks, Becky. I appreciate it. Thanks, Madeline, for having me. And back to you.
Thank you so much, Quinn. We'll give him the round of applause. Y'all remember we've talked about that before, just as a fun way to encourage. So thank you so much, Coach Q. That was just really empowering, and I think what just a lot of us needed to